Okay, well this is the CRT rebuilding room, and this equipment is mostly from Scotty. When he closed Hawkeye, he donated all the equipment to the museum. And over the last year, volunteers have built this room in our warehouse, and it's all ready to go. So I'll show you some of the equipment that we have. This is a horizontal lathe. The tube mounts here with its neck sticking out this way, and it's used for welding glass tubing to the neck of the tube that's been cut off. You put the new glass on here, and then you can crank it and move it in place while you heat it with these gas jets, which are connected to oxygen and hydrogen, while the motor turns this thing around to keep the flames even on the thing. And that's generally the best use for this is for putting welding a new piece of glass onto the end of a tube bulb. This is a vertical lathe, one of the two kinds that we have, and in this lathe, the tube sits up here, and instead of the tube rotating, the gas jets rotate. So when you turn the motor on, this rotates around like this, and you can move the jets up or down. So what you do is you position the glass that you're welding on here, put the tube here, and then you bring this up, bring the glass up so that it mates with the tube as you apply the heat. This is the one that John Yurkon is using in his experiments up in Michigan. The third kind of lathe is another kind of vertical lathe. The difference with this one is the tube sits here, the glass sits here, but when you turn on the motor, this whole assembly rotates and the gas stays stationary. This has advantages in terms of how accurately you can mate the two together. So you could use all three of these lathes in different parts of the process, and some operators prefer one to the other. But we've got all three here. After you've put a new piece of glass onto the end of the tube and put a new gun in it, then the next step is out here. This is the oven. After you've finished putting the new gun in, the next step is that you have to heat the tube up to a high temperature to help get the remaining air molecules out of it. The tube sits here, goes down into this. I'll talk about this in a second. But then you bring the tube up to a very high temperature, about 700 degrees Fahrenheit for a period of time. And as you do that, the molecules of air that are remaining in the tube are pushed out. At the bottom of this are a couple of pumps, vacuum pumps, that are used to suck the air out of the tube. Once you've have all the air out, then this device is fed with an RF signal from here. And what that does is activates heats up the gun, which gets remaining more molecules out of it. Once that's done, it's not shown, we don't have it here mounted right now, but there's a thing called a tip-off coil that when you put electrical energy into it, it melts the glass closed, so it keeps the vacuum within the tube. Then the next step is over here. This is a jig we've built for flashing the getter. The very last step in this part of it is that there's a piece of material that's affixed to the gun that needs to be flashed, which means putting RF energy into it gets it very hot, and then it releases barium, which then absorbs the remaining molecules of oxygen that are still in the tube. Then after that, let's go back in here. These are out of place. These are the pumps that go on the bottom of the oven. But out here, there's several processes that are done. One is to apply a high voltage to the tube through this probe. That removes particles that might be remaining in the gun assembly. And then the final stage is that this incomplete gadget we haven't finished yet is a timer unit that applies different voltages to the filaments to activate the cathode and to age the gun, and that's a process that makes the cathode active and so that the gun can emit electrons. And after that, it's put in the put on a CRT tester to make sure it works. The other things we've got in here. This is a workbench that's going to be used for rebuilding guns, where we have to take the gun itself apart. Here's an electron gun, and we have to remove the cathode and filament from it and put a new one in. And this is a jig that we made. I'm not sure it's going to work, but the idea is that you can disassemble the gun with it and then put a new one in. In order to attach the new pieces to the gun, you use this, which is a spot welder, and this is a gadget that does the spot welding. The rest of the things in here is a stock of guns we got from Scotty. These are all guns actually here. Over here is glass of various sorts, and various diameters and lengths. This is neck glass for a color tube. It's the larger diameter. This is neck glass for a black and white tube. This is the sort of thing that you would be welding onto the shell of the tube. These are various chemicals and other supplies. Some of the getters that go in the tubes. Down here is more neck glass. These are long 4-foot sections of glass. Then over here are stems. The stem is get one of them out. The stem is the device that you attach the electron gun to, and then that goes on the lathe, and it's welded to the bottom of the tube. And then this is the stem that goes into the oven's pumps. This is where the vacuum pump hooks on and sucks the air out.